Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Common English Mistakes. Don't just learn, improve. So today we're going to look at something I quite often hear from my students with a specific past participle, or what I call V3. We use these with perfect tenses like present or past perfect, and also more advanced modal verb structures. The mistake happens with the past participle of have, because they need to use both have as a past participle, but also as an auxiliary verb in the structure. So they need to use it twice and often forget to do this. It can be a little bit confusing, but we'll look at some strategies to make it easier using contractions and connected speech. These are also very important because they make you sound much more natural and like a native speaker. Anyway, the mistakes are up here. Just pause the video and see if you can correct any of the sentences. And well done for the first one. If you said they had dinner, but really, most naturally, with a contraction, they'd had dinner by the time we arrived. So here we have two actions, have dinner and arrive, happening in the past. The earlier action, the one that happens before the other, have dinner, needs to be in the past perfect. Subject, had auxiliary, past participle or V3. Our phrase is to have dinner, so they had dinner by the time we arrived. However, it does sound a bit funny to say they had, and certainly this is something no one would really ever say. Instead, you want to contract the subject and had auxiliary. I had, I'd, you had, you'd, he had, he'd, etc. down to they'd had dinner by the time we arrived. It's more natural and it's going to be much easier to say and get correct. For the next one, again, we need to use a perfect tense to talk about one action, have lunch, happening before another, arrive, but this time in the future. Here, the auxiliary verb have comes after the modal verb will. As I've said in previous videos, it doesn't matter what you're doing, after a modal verb, you're always going to use the infinitive. So, subject will have past participle or V3. We will have had lunch by the time you arrive. However, we will have had is quite a difficult thing to say, and therefore not very natural and something people really don't say in spoken language. Again, you want to try to contract the subject and will. I will, I'll, you will, you'll, he'll, she'll, we'll, they'll. But we can go further than that. You can also connect that to the auxiliary have. I'll have, I'll have, you'll have, you'll have, he'll have, she'll have, we'll have, they'll have. It might sound a bit funny at first, but it's going to be much easier thinking of future perfect as this rather than the three parts before the past participle. For the next one, we have another modal verb should being used in the past to say what the correct decision was. Again, we need to have auxiliary. Again, it comes after a modal verb, so needs to be in the infinitive. Should have past participle or V3. I should have had a bigger breakfast. However, again, should have had is quite an awkward thing to say. So again, you want to try to connect the modal verb and the have auxiliary. Should have, should have. I should have had a bigger breakfast. It's the same for could have, could have, to talk about possibility in the past. I could have studied more for my exam. Or would have. I would have come to your party, but I was sick. These are going to make you sound much more natural, but also are going to make the structures easier and probably make you more accurate. So do try to start thinking about connected speech. For the next one, we're going back to past perfect to talk about hypothetical situations in the past. Here with wish, so I wish we had more time on our last holiday. Again, though, we're going to contract this and say, I wish we'd had more time on our last holiday. So for the last one, to bring everything you've learned in this video together, using third conditional to talk about the past, pause the video again and try to not only correct the sentence, but use as much contraction and connected speech to make it sound as natural as possible. And very well done. If you said, if we'd had better weather at the weekend, we would have had a barbecue. If you can do that, you're well on the way to sounding like a native speaker. Anyway, explanation over. Hope that was useful for you. And now you're going to be more accurate and sound more natural. Before we do a bit of practice, by the end of September, I'll have had this channel for 2 years. It'd be great if we could get to 2,000 subscribers before then. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, like and subscribe and share this and other videos you like with others that you think might find them useful. It would be much appreciated if you could do that. When you're ready though, let's practice and improve. Just pause the video and complete these 3 questions with the structures we've seen today and have as a past participle V3. And well done. If you said which place, holiday destination, do you wish you'd had more time in? What time will you have had dinner by this evening? Again, here we're connecting you have, you have. And finally, if you'd had a headache this morning, would you have had the day off? Again, connecting you have, you have. So now just pause the video and write an answer to one of those questions in the comments. Do make sure you do it, guys. Good opportunity to practice more difficult structures, and of course helps me, helps the algorithm. Anyway, that's basically it for today. I hope it was useful for you guys. I'll see you for another video next week sometime. So until then, see ya.